You meal prep, you eat healthy, so why you're not losing fat? Well, probably because healthy doesn't mean that you're eating completely calorie-free. Today I want to show you where people are going wrong and how to fix those leaks in your healthy diet that will help you to lose that body fat that you don't want and bring you to the shape that you desire to be. And if you need some help shrinking down your waistline, check the link down in the description and let me help you to lose some body fat over the next 30 days completely for free. Many people assume that eating healthy automatically will bring you a body shape that you desire. But what happens in reality when personal trainers like myself or a dietitian looks into person's diet, we establish that you're not necessarily in a calorie deficit. And in order to lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So eating healthy alone doesn't mean that you're in a calorie deficit because we simply have some foods that are very calorie dense and they are considered healthy. Some of these foods can be things like chia seeds, which are having a high fat content. Any nuts, like you'll grab a handful of nuts, that's going to be 200-300 calories quite easily. Peanut butter, a small spoon of peanut butter has unreasonable amount of calories. If you would weigh and check, you would be unpleasantly surprised. And I remember in my previous workplace, I gave a bit of a demonstration where I showed like a small kind of bowl, which is a handful of peanut butter, and that had 400 calories, while the other example was literally a salad bowl full of salad with chicken breast, which also had 400 calories. And even the salad had some mayo, which you wouldn't consider healthy, really. But when it comes down to calories, that's what will lead you to losing weight. And some foods, like I just described, have a higher calorie content than others. The way you have to think about it, if you would have cheap fuel or very expensive premium fuel, which is healthy diet, and then you have a shit diet, and then you have a car tank that you need to fill up without the safety nozzle, regardless which fuel you take, you can still overfill your car with fuel, whether it's premium or not premium, and it's considered garbage. At the end of the day, it comes down to calorie deficit if you want to make sure that you are losing body fat. And to be completely honest, regardless whether you're eating healthy or unhealthy, due to our lifestyles today, it's very easy to constantly overfill your tank fuel because we're simply not as active as our parents or grandparents used to be. Now, just think about it. Your job is probably sedentary and you're not physically as active through the day. If we take my grandma in comparison, she used to physically have to do things around the house or physically do things at work because there was no computers available. And even a simple thing like commuting to work, if we take my mom, for example, she walked to work roughly 3 kilometers every day and then 3 kilometers back. So that burned a lot more calories than what we do now, which is most of the time, even myself as a personal trainer. Look, I'm sitting here speaking to camera. I will be editing this video. I'll be sitting again. Then to drive back home, I'll be sitting in the car. And then, yes, I will have few sessions in between recording these videos, but outside the sessions, I'll be probably sitting for nearly 10 hours a day. So it means I will not be burning the same amount of calories as when I was doing a physically active job. And my diet may not even change. It's just my lifestyle has changed. What I consider healthy will no longer help me to maintain the body shape that I desire. And the thing is that my body has simply not broke down because I'm 30, not 20 anymore. It's just that I am no longer picking car parts for 12 hours a day and I'm sitting. So the same thing can happen to you. While my diet hasn't changed much in the last decade, I'm eating roughly the same thing, which would be considered healthy for most people. And if you feel like you're eating healthy and you're not losing weight, then you're not in a calorie deficit. So, how do we achieve that? If you consider yourself as someone who's eating healthy, then pick up apps like MyFitnessPal or Calorie Counter Plus. I'm in UK, I prefer Calorie Counter Plus. It seems to be having a little bit more accurate calories according to the meals in UK, but maybe there is some other wonderful apps to do that. So what I would recommend for 2 weeks, just track everything you eat and the calories that you eat and see what those apps recommend to you to be in the calorie deficit. So within the first week, as you'll start tracking, you will be able to understand whether you're in calorie deficit or not. And then second week, when you will approach a calorie deficit and you will start eating a little bit less than you should be, you may start losing weight. And the reason why I say you may start losing weight is something that you have to check on the scales. Because if you're not losing weight, then it means you're not in calorie deficit. It's just as simple as that. So start tracking to understand exactly where you are with your diet. The second thing, if you don't want to cut any more calories, you need to start looking for opportunities to increase your activity. And one of the best ways to increase your activity is to try to walk as much as physically possible. And if you're really struggling to add some activity into your day, get a dog. They will force you to walk. I'm joking. It might be too much of a commitment for you, but I have 2 dogs, so they force me to walk a lot. Another great thing that will come from tracking, you will see how much protein you're eating, and I can tell that straight away. You will probably have to increase that. If you're not hitting 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, I would highly recommend to increase that, especially if you're already active in training in the gym, lifting some heavy dumbbells and things like that, because protein will help you to build muscle and repair those muscles. And also, you need to add reasonable amount of fiber into your diet. By reasonable, it depends from person to person, but around 35 grams of fiber is recommended per person per day. But if you haven't been eating fiber, which if you're claiming to be eating healthy and you don't have enough fiber in your diet, it's a bit counterintuitive. But anyways, if you haven't been eating much fiber, if you'll start hitting those 35, 40 grams, you may find that your stomach is a bit upset. So approach that gradually. But generally, what protein and fiber will help you to do is to slow down the digestion, which will keep you fuller for longer. And that means you will be snacking a little bit less, which will help you to keep that calorie deficit. And there's 2 bonuses that can also help you with weight loss. One of them is sleep, and the second one is managing stress. With sleep, simply try to sleep 8 hours per night every day, and that will reduce your cravings through the day, and stress management in combination with that will help you to manage your appetite and cravings in general. So it's a wonderful thing, to be honest, for your diet, because if we really get stressed or we have lack of sleep, we may want to get some comfort foods into your diet. And look, I'm no different. I slept a little bit less last night, and I'm thinking, what nice I could have from Tesco that's around the corner. So yeah, sleeping well and stress management does help to stick to your diet and snack less on things like nuts, which are very calorie dense, as I said before. I would also like to share one of the mistakes that I've seen. My client, will call him Jamil. I just made up this name, but anyways, the mistake that I've seen him doing is adding too much oil into the food. So what was happening is when we was tracking his diet, it looked like he's eating in the calorie deficit, but one thing happened. He was adding oil when he was cooking, and he just assumed that there was nothing wrong with adding oil. But to be honest, oil is one of the worst things for increasing your calorie intake, because just a couple of spoons of olive oil, which can be considered healthy, will add 200 calories to the meal that you're frying, or even into your salads. If you put some olive oil and you don't measure it, that can easily add 200-300 calories to the salad. So sometimes putting lower fat mayo would be a better thing than just adding oil to the salads or cooking on oil. But we had to go for a non-stick pan, so he would not use as much oil. And then we started noticing like healthy weight loss literally within weeks. Sorry, there's a car in the background. I hope I can remove that audio from this video. What I really want you to understand that eating healthy is the single best thing you can do for your body. However, it doesn't mean that the healthy food comes without calories. And if it comes down to weight loss, we still need to work on a calorie deficit and to make sure that we're not overeating on some simple things like a little bit too much oil, a little bit too much peanut butter, or any other nuts in general. So track your calories, see where you are, pay attention to whether you're losing or not losing weight according to the calorie deficit that you've been following through the app, and continue eating healthy. If you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks that you will enjoy this one, so go and watch it, and I'll see you in the next one.